I'm in Clearwater, Florida today. I'm on the way to go pick up my new trailer for the Hideaway. I ordered it directly from ComPac with the idea that since they are the manufacturer, they would have all the proper specs for the new trailer. So this should be quite an adventure. We'll be hopefully launching here pretty soon, and we'll see what it's like to actually have the proper equipment and the proper trailer for the boat. That should be fun in itself. Come on along, join in the fun.
I picked up the new trailer for the Hideaway yesterday, and thought we'd kind of walk over it here and go over some of the things I'm surprised at and some of the things I really, really like a lot compared to the piece of junk, literally, that we're using now. Okay, this is known as take two. This time I have removed the pin from the tongue extender there, and I've put it in a conspicuous spot so I know where it is. Really, so I know where it is. I'm sure it's there somewhere. It's on the other side of the hoist. There you go. Alright, so the pin's there, and I normally would keep that in my pocket, but given my memory today, I don't think we're going to do that. Okay, so I've got that released. I have dropped the chains from their secure position, and I've removed the electrical emergency stop, and it's setting on the ground where it can't hurt anything. And now we're just going to pull this thing out, and I'll tell you it's not easy, but it's a vast improvement over what I had. The big clang you heard at the end was the safety bolt that stops the tongue from coming completely out. And of course that's pretty standard. I'm sure you all have that. I like it a lot. Now there's only one length hole drilled. I'm probably going to need that. I can probably just leave that alone. I don't know that I need to have it shorter. The reason is this trailer is not as long as the one I'm used to. It's certainly a lot easier to handle. Now we can, I've got the tongue extender sent back to its receiver, but there is an issue with that, in that if that shelf there was just a skosh lower, it would slide right in. Unfortunately, it's not. There is a solution for that, though, as there's always a solution for everything, and that's going to be something I keep on board anyway. I had used this for trying to attach the trailer to the truck before. I don't need it anymore for that, but we do need it for this purpose. It's an easy repair, or not fix, I guess, but that's how we're going to get around this. One of us will pull up on that, and the other one will push the extender the rest of the way in. I don't know if I'm going to, after I fall flat on my nose, I don't know if I'm going to try to get that fixed or just leave it alone. Sometimes the fixes are worse than the cure. As you all know, if you're in salt water, the biggest threat to your trailer is going to be the salt corrosion causing the rust. The old trailer cross members were tubes, and of course all that did is trap water and rust it out. You've seen the first video of the old trailer. This one is really great that way because nothing is enclosed. All the cross members and all the everything else actually is a C-channel, so there's no way that water's going to get trapped in it. In fact, we had heavy rains last night, and there's not a drop of water anyplace. So that's going to be a huge advantage over what we'd been putting up against before. It's going to cut down the maintenance tremendously. However, you still have the usual suspects here. When you come in to look at the spring system, it's the same on all boats. They're made of steel, and you can already see, I believe, some rust forming on them. So that's not a good thing. And all those bolts that are on the tandem axle and every place else are not necessarily stainless steel. In fact, I would guess they're not at all, none of them. As well as the the U-bolts that hold things together. Those were all points of major concern on the old trailer. We had a constant battle with rust and replacements on that. So what I'm going to do later today is I'm going to grease everything. When I say everything, I mean all sides of the springs. Anything that's got a thread on it and a bolt or a nut, like you're seeing here, that's all going to be covered with nasty, greasy grease. And hopefully that will prevent the rust from forming. Now, theoretically, you'll never have to take this stuff apart, but I tell you, if you ever do, it's one of the worst things to try to get off. I'll tell you that. So I'm going to do that to everything. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a risk. It's not going to be much fun maneuvering around the trailer, but you really don't have that much business with that anyway. Certainly not for the first several years. But having an old junk trailer was quite an education, because that shows me what I need to watch out for and what I need to do to keep this new one looking spiffy.
You got a brand new trailer.
I thought I had a picture of the two trailers side by side, but I find that I don't. The old trailer is about 9 inches wider, and it's a foot or two longer than the new one. The new one, however, is much lighter. It's only about 600 pounds. Yep. The old one is about 1,200 pounds. So that's a big difference, and it makes a huge difference as far as trying to launch and retrieve the boat. I'm really happy with the smaller trailer.
So the same kind of suspension system, basically, but better brakes, obviously. And Dad was just telling me that we were going to have to adjust these boards because they may have to be angled differently. We've got a bunch of nuts that we'll have to break to alter the angle of the boards to the hull of the boat. But this was supposed to have been built for the ComPac, so let's see. And it just locks by throwing that lever down?
When we close the door, it locks, and then there's a pin.
Okay, oh, I see.
And this wheel just stays like that.
Isn't that nice?
That's a lot different from that normal key kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's brand new, so it's working really well.
Right, yeah. Just wait a few months.
Oh, and this one you just turn it around. Oh, look at this.
Oh, yeah, I love those.
This is super cool.
Yeah.
You got greasing fittings here, so you can inject grease.
Yeah, I've got a can of grease in there.
Cool. And you think this is already extended to the degree that you need it?
I hope so. That's as far as it goes.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay.
Now on this one, we have to have the electrical hooked up.
You know if this handle just hangs in there?
That's fine.
There's got to be a lock on it, doesn't it?
It won't hurt anything. That's all right. If you ever get involved in these, this is the combination surge electric brake.
Uh-huh.
You have to have the electric hooked up, or you can't back it up.
With a lock?
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Pushes this back.
Or you can put a nut right here.
Okay, to prevent it from going. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Where do you want me to sit?
It only took a few years, but I finally figured out how to back up a trailer.
Keep going, keep going.
Okay, you're good. 2 more feet.
Yeah, 2 more feet. 2 feet.
I want to give you an idea what it's like to actually set up the new trailer to your boat. Basically, don't believe what the manufacturer has told you. The trailer's probably not set up properly as yet. There is significant risk involved in this. Be very careful. Plan all your moves. You'll notice that there are some errors in here. There's some things we did wrong. There's some things we did right. Hopefully, you can benefit from them.
It's been a while.
You don't know if you're on there. I didn't center them off, but I wouldn't expect the have that much wood.
Well, just pull the boat in a little further so you can see.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Remember, these boats set home, so the boat should be in the guide.
Still floating? My side. This is really good.
We're checking here to see if the depth finder sensor is clear of the bunk boards. Sorry about the background noise. That camera was too close to the truck that was running.
Look for it. It looks good. I think we're just directly underneath the. It's just a little bit inside from the bump. I think we're okay. All right, I'm going to partially pull it forward. Get this out.
Whoa! Should it be that high, Mom?
Yeah, the keel is way back there.
Is it even on the board? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the board.
So it rocked back there, Dad. That's why I yelled.
It will go back.
It will always.
Is
it will
this?
always do that.
Okay, okay.
Because of the angle.
Right, but.
And the depth finder's in good position over here.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We're good. There's the point of
Yeah, yeah.
No, he's sitting okay in the
Seems
board.
like it could have come over.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
can.
We'll do this again, right?
This is about the same distance we always run into when we recover.
But I mean, it seems like it could come more close to the forward end of that board.
Shoulder, you think?
Actually, the other one, that's okay.
All right.
I think we're good. I'm gonna pull it out so
We'll
it's
see.
dry. I'll be watching the back of it,
Yeah.
see if it could be.
I'm thinking.
What are you looking for?
Taking off the end.
A little bit.
You think the keel's hanging off?
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Oh yeah, well.
Well, you got almost only a foot with it forward. You can go much farther forward anyway.
All right, this is that's the forward. Here's our little window. The center's right here.
Let's pull it a little further out and see where they're feeling.
Hope you have your phone in your pockets.
What do you have in your back pocket? Matt, you got something in your back pocket.
That's a wet wallet.
Okay, good.
Is that the new thing, the cherry wet wallet?
You're not even on the board.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
No, it's actually being held off of the center board.
Oh, we got to get it down.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's being held above that board. It should be. Right now, those two sideboards are holding it from slipping all the way through. They're not wide enough apart. No, not yet. Keep going.
Not yet. Keep going.
Go, go, go.
Go, go, go.
You got 3 more feet. 3 more feet.
1 feet.
Now you're floating.
This is the same recovery viewed from the dock.
Pull it straight to the winch.
Line up.
And we've done this before.
Once.
It's been a while.
It's the first time on this one.
There you go.
They don't know if we're on there right because that's, I mean, it's centered and all.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect to have that much wood hanging out.
Well, just
Yeah.
pull the boat in a little further so you can see if
Yeah,
it's
well,
set.
I'm just saying that that's,
What's the risk here?
Remember,
pull out
these
with full
boats
weight.
set lower, so the boat should be in the
is
guide.
it still floating?
And then the
Probably.
backside.
It is floating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Can I get it
should
forward?
be able to pull it forward.
Does it like to come all the way forward?
Pull it forward. Can you see the keel yet? It's so dark, I can't tell.
I cannot see the keel.
No, I am not seeing it yet.
Maybe you need to back down a little bit more.
Hang on, Dad. You were looking for the view for the finder,
Yeah.
depth finder. Can you see where it should be? Is it below the?
Hey, Matt. You need to back down a little bit more.
You got like a foot
Yeah, he can come.
Yeah, I can go down a little bit.
Float around a bit more.
Yeah.
Not very far, but I can get a little bit down. That looks damn good, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I think, just from my experience, yeah, it looked like that the bunk was out too far.
All the way up.
They're just right there, let's hold it.
Can you see that keel yet? Seems like
I can't see it, but just knowing where that's at, that's pretty close.
Yeah,
you gonna check the depth finder?
You kind of look for it.
It looks good, I think we're just,
Is it directly underneath of the?
it's just a little bit inside from the bunk, I think we're okay there. All right, I'm gonna partially pull it forward, screen the field, see if
We'll give you a shout.
It looks like it's sitting good on the bunks on this side.
I think it's good, it'd just be whether we need to tip the bunk.
Right.
Get lots of pictures because if it goes south, it's going to make for a great flag.
Exactly. Yep. Well, you know, you got to get something out of it.
Whoa!
Must be that high one.
Yeah, the keel is way back there. So
Is it even on the board? Yeah.
yeah, it's on the board. Yeah, the keel's on the board.
Rocks back there, Dad. That's why you know.
It will go back.
It will always do that.
Yeah, I know.
Because of the angle.
Right, but,
And
How's
the
it
depth
sitting?
finder's in good position. over
How's the
here.
other bunk?
oh yeah, we're good.
That's
We're
sitting
good,
nice.
there's the finder there.
No, he's seating okay in the
Seems
board.
like it could have come forward.
Yeah, but we can, this is about the same distance we always run into when we recover.
But I mean, it seems like it could come more close to the
Yeah,
forward
because
end
the
of that
center
board.
board's shorter, you think?
Actually, the other one, let's look at it.
All right.
I think we're good. We'll
Before
pull
we
it
get it
out
out,
to
we
where
can
it's
see the
dry.
line.
I'll be watching the back of it,
Yeah.
see if it could be.
I'm thinking it might be hanging off the end.
A little bit.
You think the keel's hanging off?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Because of the length we measured, I think it's hanging off the end.
Well, yeah, it will.
No, it's on the other one. It's in about 3 or 4 inches from the back of the plank.
Well, you gotta almost only a foot of that forward, so you're gonna go much farther
Yeah,
forward.
I was just thinking.
All right,
it
this
was
is
hanging
the,
on.
that's the forward. Where's my middle one? The center's right here.
So that's what you were estimating, right? Okay, it's right at the center window. Let's pull it a little further out and see where that keel ends up.
Okay, have your point in your pocket.
What do you have in your back pocket? Whoa!
Not off that much.
Just want him to see.
You're not even on the board.
Just, can you come look?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's not off by.
It's actually being held
Oh, we gotta get it down. Just by the bunks, yeah, roll it back in. What's going on?
It's being held above that board. It could be. Right now, those sideboards are holding it from slipping all the way through. They're not wide enough to start.
Yeah,
It's not even setting on the board. That's what we were worried about. Okay.
yeah, those boards need to be wide and apart.
No, not yet.
Not yet, not yet. Keep going.
Go, go, go.
Go, go, go,
You got
go,
three
go.
more feet. 3 more feet.
It's floating.
Now you're floating.
Well, we got the Hideaway put back in the water safely. I wasn't aware I could hold my breath that long. We looked at the trailer and realized that the bunks were probably about 2 inches high. So we dropped both of them 2 inches and then recovered the boat. I went over to hook up to the old trailer to haul it to the junkyard. And I was looking at that long tongue extender and decided we might as well slide that back in. There's no point in making the journey harder. I got it to move about 1/8 of an inch before it locked up. Well, we went into the tool shed to get the come-alongs that the club always had around. There weren't any. There were, however, 2 very large C-clamps, and we managed to rig up this thing with the C-clamp and the chain from the trailer, and were able to just move that tongue 1/8 of an inch or so, enough to get the bolt in, hooked it back up, and we hauled it away. You got to be creative sometimes, or you're not considered a sailor, I guess. After the crew left, we took Hideaway back to her slip and disconnected the truck and started to wash her down. It was then that I noticed that the stern edge of the keel was about 3 inches behind the keel board. Thought this might be a problem. I happened to grab the rail as I was looking at it and very nearly tipped the boat over. It was too late in the day and we were way too tired and heat stroked out to do any more work on the boat, so we tied the tongue down to the hurricane ties that are embedded in the ground and in concrete and left for the day. That would be a job for the next day. We returned the next day and relaunched the boat. When we pulled it back out, I adjusted the keel bunks a little bit, made it a little bit wider, thinking that might have played a role. We were able to slide the boat forward to the point where the keel was about maybe 3 inches inside of the board. That made the boat stable enough to operate safely on the trailer. I was able to get the ladder up and be on the board without it tipping. However, as we look at the front of the keel now, we see a bubble in the vinyl that covers the keel board. That tells me that there's pressure there, and you can also see that the board is bent. I talked to somebody who knows more about hauling stuff around than I do, and he suggested that we raise the front and the middle supports for both bunk boards. That would allow the boat to float higher until maybe it could be pulled forward farther. The other suggestion was to raise the trailer winch to the maximum, which I've done. We haven't made the adjustment to the trailer yet, so we'll do that report at a later date. We had 2 cameras running on the day that we did the first recovery of the Hideaway on her new trailer. This is something you might want to consider doing on your own. I've noticed from watching these videos, I see several mistakes here that we were making that I wasn't aware of because I'm normally in the pickup. It's good information. It's well worth the time, and it's quite an interesting thing to see, frankly. Okay. We have assembled an international crew to help us recover the Hideaway. We had folks in here from Leipzig, Germany, Santiago, Chile, and then, of course, the good old US of A. It wasn't done particularly on purpose, but it just kind of worked out that way. The right people were in the right place at the right time. Unluckily for them, they got involved in this afternoon-long affair. But we sure thank everybody that helped. It was an amazing day.